you can just go do things. Like if you are wishing for a group in your city to do a certain thing, like just go make it and like make an Instagram page. Maybe no one shows up. Maybe you get one person to show up, and then from there you have like a buddy to just continue to build it with.
I've seen a lot of people move to Austin, but you in particular have just gotten dialed in on like kind of the fitness scene. Like what advice do you have for people who are moving to a new city and just like trying to really level up?
I think like finding community as quickly as possible, whether that's fitness-based, faith-based, whatever it may be, just finding a group in that new city that does like what you want to do and finding community in that, because once you have like one little community, like you can just expand on that so much. You just have to talk to people around you and like be open to conversation, because like it takes one thing to be able to go and just like show up to a run club, but you also have to go and like be an active participant and like talk to a few people around you, because it's good to go, but it's even better like when you actually connect with someone there, connect with someone you don't know. And it's easy to get complacent too and just stop, like once you have a group of friends, just stop going to events. But you just have to keep putting yourself out there and continue to meet new people even when you know like people already, essentially. That's what I try and do now.
All right, Chad. You are officially, I think this might be the fastest turnaround episode we've ever done on the Meat Mafia.
I know.
Second appearance in what, like 2 months, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was like the end of March when we did my first episode.
You would know better than me. You've been managing the podcast for the last...
almost a year now.
Yeah, almost a year.
Yeah, a year in August. We were in talks this time last year.
Dude, it's so funny. We talk about this a lot on the show, but just leveraging the power of the internet and just like sliding into some DMs just to inquire about a position. Like you never know where it's going to lead. And we've literally hired like 5 people simply through DMs and like knocking on door, like literally Ned, who you know, knocked on our door and was like, hey, you know, I want to work for you guys.
Yeah.
And that stuff goes so far.
I like vividly remember like where I was. I told the story like on our last podcast too that I did with Brett, but I vividly remember like, where I was when I sent you the DM that first night. It was like 2 a.m. I was in my bed in Alaska. Like I was going to the field the next morning and you mentioned that you needed help doing clips, and so I was like, I could do that. And so I was like half asleep. I like sent you
I
sent you a DM. I didn't know anything about clips, so I was like, I could figure it out. I sent you the DM, and then I woke up and you replied, because I was like 4 hours behind you at that time. And you were like, can we hop on a call today? And I was like, no, I'm going to the field today for 2 weeks. And so we like didn't really talk again until we were a little bit back and forth. We couldn't work anything out until like May of last year. Then we started talking.
It's so funny though, because like to look at your trajectory from just like sending a DM about clips till now, like now you're like fully integrated into stuff that we're doing with Noble, like probably even maybe more so than you expected when you first got down here. But it's been cool just like seeing how adaptable you are as a person and somebody who's just like willing to learn all the different things that it takes to, you know, build a business or like be involved with a podcast. Like I just think that for anyone who's like young, just having that mindset of like, I'll do anything that you put in front of me. I'll learn it. I'm going to suck at the beginning, or like, you know, I'll just figure out how to be good quickly. Cause I feel like that's like kind of the end of like at the end of the day, like that's one of the only skills that matters is like starting and then getting good quickly. It's
kind of insane to think about too, like where I was at this time last year versus like where I am now. Like even thinking about like pre me moving to Austin in January, like I feel like a completely like different person, like in a good way. Like I feel like I've grown so much in like 6 months I've lived here now.
It's so awesome. I feel like it's fun from my vantage point because I've seen a lot of people move to Austin. Like we had an intern before you who moved here. Nolan moved here. Carlisle moved here. Like so much of our team has like made the commitment to like be in Austin, and all of you guys have just like effortlessly like integrated into the city. And I feel like it's been like such a great fit, but you in particular have just gotten dialed in on like kind of the fitness scene. Like you immediately, I think like a week into you being here, you're like, yeah, I went to Dom's Run Club. And I'm like, dude, Dom's one of my good friends. Like he's one of my best friends in town. So, and then I met someone randomly who also goes to that run club, and they're like, yep, like Chad is just like part of our friend group, and you'd been here for like 2 weeks, and you're like already like great friends with these people. So I feel like there's something to that, like just that willingness to like, you know, come here and like get involved.
Yeah, a lot of it too comes with like just being willing to put yourself out there too. And I came into like when I moved here, I saw like a tweet, like it was probably like fall of last year. Eric Hinman, he tweeted something along the lines of like, if you're moving to a new city, like these are the steps that you need to follow. And like one was like, join a community-based gym, go to a couple of run clubs, go to fitness events, and like become a regular at like some different places, like coffee shops and things like that. And so and he said a couple other things too that I can't remember, but I really embodied that. And so like I joined Squatch immediately. The only people I knew when I moved to Austin too was you and Brett, but I hadn't even met you and Brett in person yet. Like I didn't meet either of you until like maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks into like me being here.
Yep.
And so I literally knew you two. My barber now, Eric, he went to high school with me. He was also in the Army, and he lives in Austin now. So I knew him, but like we talked a little bit like when I was in college and like early days in the Army. But like we weren't like as close as we are. Like we weren't friends like we are now. But so like I knew nobody here.
Yeah.
And I came down here, went to a run club, like still like didn't really know anyone, and then I went to a run club at Squatch. There's Men in the Arena at Squatch. It's like the men's group they do every other Friday. And afterwards, I was just like went to the sauna, and I was just sitting in the sauna, and I was talking to like a couple of the other guys in there, and my friend Kevin now was like, you should come to this like Feel Good Friday run club next Friday. And I was like, okay. And so I had been in Austin like at a week at this point. And so the run club that he mentioned on Friday, Dom's Run Club, was my second week in Austin. So I went there. This other guy, Austin, one of my friends now, he was JMU grad as well. And so we bonded over that. Like we saw like in the Instagram group chat that like we both went to JMU, but like we had a bunch of mutual friends, but I didn't know him in college. And so met him, became friends with like that entire group, and then immediately they added me to all these group chats. Like we had coffee, and like I was always getting texted to like go and hang out with them and like do different events around the city. And then like South by Southwest came up, and so like there are always things that they're going to. And even still now, like I've been traveling a lot the last few months, so I haven't seen them as much as like I'd like to, but they're always hitting up that group chat. They're like, hey, who's going to Coffee and Chill this weekend? Who's going to this event? Who's going to this run club? Who's going to Men in the Arena? And so I was really just like, I'm very fortunate to be able to meet them so quickly.
Yeah.
And get like thrown into the community and like find like-minded people.
Yeah.
Who all like are like very, very like, I don't know, like good people, and like very quickly who are also like fitness minded as well.
Well, dude, Austin's so unique in the sense that like these communities are just like baked into where we are. Like there's just people out there who are like starting these run clubs and throwing these fitness events. Like, I don't know, when I lived in Boston, I did not feel like there was all of this like social buzz around health, and it's super unique to Austin, I think. Like maybe Miami, maybe LA, maybe New York, but like outside of that, I feel like Austin punches well above its weight for like how small of a city it is.
Even in Richmond, like there's one run club that I know of, maybe one or two or three that people have, but like none of them are as big as like any of the run clubs here. Like you see like some of like the Desnudo Run Club or like the Good Grief Run Club, like some of them have like or endorphins, like there are hundreds of people going to these run clubs. Totally. Like every single week too. Like pretty consistently. And there's a run club every morning and night of every day of the week. And like Griffin, my coach, Good Pain Athletics, shout out to Griffin. He's got his track workout every Tuesday. Brutal workouts.
Is this Good Pain?
Good Pain, yeah.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I've been working with Griffin for the last like 4 months. It's been incredible.
That's awesome.
But he has Good Pain. There's still like 50 to 100 people that come out to that every week, and it's like a brutal workout. But it is like really cool to see and like be around. I go most Tuesdays. I do my own workouts a lot of the times, but it's cool to be able to like be around like people who are also like in the fitness and bettering themselves. And then Muse Camp as well with Donahue and Angie. They're always getting after it as well.
Elite fitness. Have you found that, obviously it's like a very welcoming community, but have you found that it's been any challenges in the first few months of you getting down here in terms of just like getting plugged into things?
No, it's pretty easy like having the podcast helps because
Yeah.
like you and Brett know everyone in the fitness community, I feel like, so that helps a little bit. But the biggest thing, like I met a lot of people just like organically, like you just have to talk to people around you and like be open to conversation, because like it takes one thing to be able to go and just like show up to a run club, but you also have to go and like be an active participant and like talk to a few people around you, because it's good to go, but it's even better like when you actually connect with someone there, connect to someone you don't know. And like I went to like Dom's run club one week and met Ben Perrins from True Med.
Oh yeah.
And we just like hit it off immediately. We talked for like an hour just straight on the run. And now he's like, I text him pretty often. Like we talk every week or so.
Yeah.
About either about work that we're doing with them with Noble, or just about like his Boston Marathon or trip to Italy and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's just like so easy. Like you never know who you're gonna meet at these like places, and it's easy to get complacent too and just stop. Like once you have a group of friends, just stop going to events.
Totally.
But you just have to keep putting yourself out there and continue to meet new people, even when you know like people already. Essentially, that's what I try and do now.
Totally. Yeah, you're giving me flashbacks to when I first moved down here, which was 2021, and I moved down here with Brett right after we'd run the Waco Ironman together. And it was so much fun, just like being in a new city with like not knowing anybody, but knowing that one person who you're going to like use to just kind of like, hey, let's go to this social thing. Let's go to this run club. Let's go to this lift. We actually started our own run club called Moving and Grooving. It might have been the first run club in Austin. I think we might have started it because we were just having so much fun post Ironman. We're like, all right, how can we meet people? How can we get other people involved in the game? And we just like started this run club that has evolved into like a million different other things. But we were doing, I had a Tuesday morning run club. At one point I had a Tuesday morning run club and a Monday run club that I was doing. And I was like, I just can't keep, I can't do this. I need to consolidate into one, because I had like two different cohorts of people that were going. Mm-hmm. One was like a faith one and one was just like a guys run club. And then like pass that off to Danny Miranda, the Monday one. It was on Tuesday. And then the Monday one moved to Tuesday. So that's when I had to make the decision. But anyways, it's just like, it's so crazy to me that a city, like moving to a new city, you can literally just do things. You can literally just start a run club or get involved with one. And like that, you immediately have like a plugged in group of friends. You can
literally just do things anywhere too, which is something I've been trying to like think about as I live my life now. Like I can just do things, especially being out of the Army. That helps a little bit because I'm a little bit more free.
Do you feel like you have more of that spirit of like wanting to try new things after being in the military? Yeah, I mean, living in Fairbanks for 4 years, I was kind of isolated. So it's nice to like be in a city that like actually like does things. But like I'm from Richmond, and so like I go back to Richmond like pretty often. I would say like every few months, and the vibe of Richmond is completely different than the vibe of Austin. Like it's a very similar city. Like I would say like the demographics of people who live in Richmond and like who live in Austin, like it's very similar. Like they just have a very similar type feel. But like in the fitness community specifically, like it's completely different here. Like I feel like everyone, like on a nice day out where it's not like super hot here, the entire city is on the trail, like walking, or like you go on the trail like a Saturday morning to do like a long run or something, like you see like hundreds of people also running. Like everyone here works out, I feel like. 100%. I made the habit of on Saturdays trying to do, I'll just walk Lady Bird the entire trail. And the amount of people that I see, this isn't like a brag, but it's like, it's crazy the amount of people that I see that I know, because it's just everyone goes to the trail. Yeah, I don't think there are a lot of cities that are like kind of set up like this. Really, no, I don't think so. Because when I was back in Richmond, like my mom lives in the suburbs, so like it's just like I feel like I'm still like on my own. Like I go to my gym there, and like maybe I'll see like one or two people that I know that like I grew up with, but like I never like it's really never that busy. Like there are no good walking trails that I live close by to. Like I have to drive like 25 minutes into the city to like be downtown. And like even downtown, like from what I've seen, like there's just not people like always running. Like here, there are always people running no matter what time it is during the day. Even when it's like 110 degrees outside, it feels like there are people running around the trail. So I think the city
there's just something to it where like everyone is very health minded. I don't think they have that in a lot of other cities.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something special. I was talking to my buddy Miles Snyder, he's been on the podcast twice, and early on, and he's a chef, he's into Bitcoin, entrepreneur, like just super fun guy to talk to because he's probably lived like 10 different lives, and he's a young guy. But just talking to him about the uniqueness of Austin, it's like it's kind of this like contrarian city where there's a lot of people who are libertarian, like kind of like freedom minded, but they're kind of like apolitical a little bit, where they more so just care about things that matter. It feels like there's not really, obviously it's like Austin's fairly blue, but it's like I don't really feel that on a day-to-day basis. I think it's like maybe contained within UT. And then I do feel like Austin just has this like freedom-mindedness to it, where it's like people want to be building things. There's like a very capitalist nature to the city. There's also like an artistic nature to the city. So it's like culturally you get this creativeness. And yeah, I don't know. There's something about just the way that Austin is. I also think like the weather like kind of keeps people away. It like brings people in, and it's like, nah, I couldn't live here long term. So like people kind of like are always like 1 foot in, 1 foot out on whether or not they're going to be in Austin for a long time. So it's just got this like dynamic that I feel like is super unique. And then you kind of like layer on all the different things that are happening right now with like Musk and Rogan being here and all these like influential people. It's like there's a lot going on.
I think there's a lot of things that you can take from like the Austin playbook and emulate in other cities as well. Like playing off of like you can just do things. Like there are people in every city, I'm sure, in the United States that like want to do like the thing that you want to do. Like if you want to start a run club that in a city that doesn't have many, like I'm sure there are 25 other people in that city that like want to do the same thing. And so like you can just go and do it. Like just go start it. So like I think it's so important for people to remember like you can just go do things. Like if you are wishing for a group in your city to do a certain thing, like just go make it and like make an Instagram page. Maybe no one shows up. Maybe you get one person to show up, and then from there you have like a buddy to just continue to build it with.
Yeah.
Like
most people are looking for stuff to do.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Like if you invite 10 people to something, you know, people are going to, like, at least 50% of those people are going to show up probably.
Yeah, even if you have a consistent group of, like, 5 to 6 people who you're doing that certain activity with, that's not bad. Like, you're doing the activity that you want to do, and you have a group of people who want to do it with you. Like, it doesn't really matter if it grows or not. Like, you're doing what you want to do. It's like, I don't know. I just think it's, like, important for people to realize that they can just do things.
Yeah, that was kind of one of my thoughts around the run club that we had when I got down here, and we were doing kind of this like men's group. It wasn't even a men's group. It was just like I was just inviting my friends to come on this group run. But it was like anti-marketing. Like I was just like, invite your friends, word of mouth, just tell people about this. There was no social media page. And like it ended up always kind of being the same core, and then there would be like a few add-ons where like, oh, I heard about this from my buddy, and he's like just like loved being around the guys. And it's like a 3-mile run. It's so like effort in terms of like the amount of effort it takes to like get that together. It's just a simple group chat. Like, hey, we'll be consistently here every single Tuesday. Just show up, and like the same guys would just show up. So
yeah,
it's kind of cool.
That's how Dom's is too. Like it's the same pretty much core group that goes every Friday.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to go in like 2 months. I was in Alaska, and I've been traveling every weekend since then pretty much.
Yeah.
But like it's the same group of people, and then we do a 5K run. A lot of times like I would do an extra 2 or 3 miles beforehand to get the rest of my mileage in for that day that I need to hit. And I would even have people join me for that. Like sometimes I'd have 2 or 3 people join me for the extra miles. Then you do your run. It takes 30 minutes to do a 5K around. We all just meet in the Barton Springs Lake parking lot at 6:30, which is a little early for some people, but we meet there. You do your 5K run, then you we jump in Barton Springs, and then we go get coffee, and we talk for about an hour. And like that coffee conversation usually consistently was my favorite part of the week. Like because you're just with people that you want to be with, and you get to start off your day by getting a little fitness in, and then hanging out and talking over coffee before you even go to work or do anything else.
Dude.
And just sets you up so well for the rest of your day.
If you have one day a week where you're doing that, like it can truly just set you up for your entire week, just in terms of just managing all the different things that you have going on, like something that you truly just look forward to. You know that like you're gonna get an hour hang in with the boys pre-work and just like set the tone.
Exactly. And like, it doesn't matter like if people have like if you do it early enough, like anyone can really fit that in their schedule.
Yeah.
Like anyone can wake up early. Mostly everyone can do that. Like it's very low threat. Like it doesn't take a lot of planning. You just have to organize. Like I'm going to be here at this time, go to this place, then we're going to go to this place after, and then that's it. Like
yeah,
it's pretty easy.
Yeah. What advice do you have for people who are moving to a new city and just like trying to really level up? Like I feel like Austin's kind of the perfect city to move to for people who are like, I need a fresh start. I need to level up. I want to find the thing that I'm supposed to be working on. And it seems like you've like just hit it out of the park in terms of like your ability to do that. So I'd be curious if you have any advice for people.
I think like finding community as quickly as possible is one of the easiest ways to get into it, whether that's fitness-based, faith-based, whatever it may be. Just finding a group in that new city that does like what you want to do and finding community in that, because once you have like one little community, like you can just expand on that so much, and there are people in that community that have other interests too that you might have, and so you can kind of play off that. But like once you find one community and like get into that and like are consistent with that, then you can really just grow from there. I would say that's probably the biggest thing, and it goes a lot with like Eric Hinman's advice, like joining a community-based gym like Squatch. They have like a community workout every week. That's easy. Like or community-based workout every month. So like one day a month, you know that there are going to be like 100, 200 people there like doing a workout. That's like an easy event that you can go to. And then like run clubs make it really easy too, because you know every week there's consistently going to be people there. But if your city doesn't have run clubs, like I'm sure there's like a coffee shop that people go to every day. Like I used to work out at coffee shops before we had the office pretty often, and like I would go to like the Brew and Brew on East 5th Street so
Great
often
spot.
that like I just like knew the baristas there because I was there so much. And like maybe that's your first community, like if you really don't know anyone. And that's kind of how it was for me too. Like I would just go there every day. I started talking to the baristas while I was getting my coffee, and then that became like my first like micro community, I would say. And so like as quickly as you can find community as possible, just set yourself up to do that.
Yeah, I like the idea of community being the answer to that question, because if you're going to a new city and you're looking for that change of pace, something that's going to like catalyze growth for you, having to explain who you are to like 100 people and over like 10 different groups maybe. So you go to all these groups, you meet 100 people. You have to tell other people who you are, what you're interested in, where you're from, and you like really have to just like come to terms with like the stuff you like, the stuff you don't like. And if you don't like stuff, it's so much easier to change because there's like less baggage around kind of like your habits and what you were doing before in a new city.
Mm-hmm. And there's so many like different events out there too. Like it doesn't have to be like fitness based.
Yeah.
Like a lot of what we talk about is like fitness, but it doesn't have to be. Like my friend Christy, I met her at her event. She has this card game called Hang Up, Hang Out, and so it's a card game that is meant to like you play with your friends, and you like put your phone down and you don't have like you're not plugged in, but it's like reusable, and so like you can play the same game like a bunch of different times, and like you don't like you can just keep using the cards. Like you don't like answer it once and then you can never play it again.
Right.
Like it's just the same thing. But I met her like at her event, because I went to that event, like it was at Zilker like in January, and I was just like putting myself out there. I was like I saw her on TikTok because she like posted about her event, and so I went. I was like, I don't know what this crowd is going to be like. I have no idea what to expect.
Those
like,
are usually the best ones.
I was like, this isn't a fitness event. Like this is literally, she had a picnic in the park, and there's just like a meet and greet. And so I went by myself, walked over there, and then like met them. And then now it's like me and Christy like are really good friends. Like she helped me a lot with like my business Sparkle. Her card games, we co-host events once a month now.
Nice.
We've been doing at Stargazer. So we do like a wine night. They have like a wine night there, and so we do like a card night and wine night.
Oh,
so
sweet.
It's like no phones. You're there for 3 hours.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so it's like,
How's that going?
Sparkle?
No, just the wine nights.
Oh, it's been good. Like,
I bet you that's like such a great way for people to actually like feel real connection.
yeah, and we like you don't even like it's just it's a wine night, but it's also like you don't even need, like I haven't drank when I went.
Right.
Like I just like we just had our phones away and we just played the card. Like we had the cards all on the table and then you answer questions, and it was like one of the cards is like pick a time frame like 1 year, 5 year, 10 years, like describe your life. Or like your dream life, like in those years. So it's like really insightful questions.
Yeah.
And so it's like you just have a bunch of people around a table playing this game, and like it's been like pretty crowded. Like we've had like 20 or 30 people the past 2 months that we've done it. We started in May. I was in Alaska, so I couldn't go to that one. But then I went to the one in June that we did in early June, and like we had a table. I knew Christy because I like met her before, like at the event. We're good friends. And then there's like a couple other people that had been to like a few other events, but like everyone else I had no idea who they were. And then like leaving that event, like I made like 15 new friends, so we all like played the game together and then just like learned about each other like in a deeper level than just like small talk.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting to me. And then like from there, like a girl that I met that night, she texted me this week and was like, hey, Noble should come out and sample at this event this weekend. And that was the girl who hit me up about.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Brenna. She hit me up and was like, come and sample at this fitness event this weekend. And so it's just like random like connections like that, not fitness related at all. Like I just found like I like the idea of connecting with people without like having my phone on me all the times. Yeah. And so I just met people that way too.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like the idea of serendipity too, like you go to these events with no expectations and you're just like kind of open to see like what happens, and you just kind of like ride it out and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, when I first went to that event in the park too, it was like back in January.
You showed up with a bag of Noble and just like placed it down on the picnic blanket.
Literally, I just like show up to the picnic blanket. I was like going into it, I was like, I'm probably going to be like the only guy here. Like I have no idea what to expect with this event. It ended up like meeting a bunch of people, like girls and guys that were like really like-minded, really cool. Also, like some of them were also in the fitness, some of them weren't, but like we like just bonded really easily, and we, especially not having a phone, like it was just so nice to actually like talk to people.
What advice do you have just in terms like from a work standpoint? It seems like you've just been able to like plug into all the different things that we're doing, from the podcast to Noble, even just helping out with like, you know, sampling. You're literally a Swiss Army knife, and it's been really cool to watch you grow through the first like year of your career outside of the Army, because clearly your skill set from there like has massive transferability into the real world. So I'd be curious just for like people listening who, you know, might be looking to level up their game in their job, or like they're just getting started in a job and don't really know where to look for advice. Like what have been some things that have worked well for you?
For me, it's like I like to be a well-rounded like worker, essentially. Like I like to know other people's jobs. I like to know the people like above me's job. Like, I was like this in the Army too. Like I like to know everyone's jobs like adjacent to me. And then I have like a bunch of like experience doing like a bunch of random things, like tinkering, you could say.
Tinker Max.
Tinkering in different modalities.
Shout out Donahue.
Yeah. But like I like the work, and I like to do different things, which is why I like doing operations, because I get to do a bunch of different things. And so like, I started off like working in marketing, obviously, like doing clips with like the Meat Mafia. But when I like realized like I was like I like operations and like the logistics and like I don't know, like the task side of thing more than like the creative like marketing side of things.
It's like marketing operations.
Yeah, I told you though, like I like told you and Brett, like I want to get more involved in like the operations side of things. Like that when I was like, it was like February timeframe, like when I was really telling you guys like I want to go more into the operations world. Like I feel like my brain is just like wired more in that direction. But so it's like if you are like not fulfilled in like what you're doing, or like you want to go a different route, like you just have to make that known also, because like you can't read my mind.
Totally.
And so your boss can't read your mind. Like you have to set yourself up, like, and who is it, Steve Jobs, it says like you don't get what you don't ask for.
Totally.
And so like you just have to like make it known what you want, and then like also like just work hard, do everything that's asked of you and more, and like don't just show up and like do the bare minimum. Like you actually have to like be involved, and like you have to want to be there.
Yeah.
And it's so easy working for Noble and Meat Mafia because like I look forward to working every day, which is something now that I've like talked to a lot of people like on the outside of like our little set, like
a little bubble,
our bubble that we have. Like I talk to like friends back home or like people that I meet and stuff. Like it's very rare that I enjoy my job, like in my like 9 to 5 per se.
Yeah.
And so like having something you enjoy helps so much because like I'm not dreading work all day. Like I'll sit at that office for 12 hours. Like I don't care.
Just get the red light going a little bit.
Yeah, red light and some new tonics. I'll be
just
set.
dialed in.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's funny. I feel like maybe early in my career, I would have been pretty opposed to making something known about kind of what I wanted directionally in terms of, it almost sounds stupid to say at this point, but like it's just kind of like the state of mind that I was in where I was like, I'm just going to show up for this job, and just grind it out. But I do think that like there's something to acknowledging what you want where you're like, hey, I'm more marketing operations minded. Like I like working on multiple tasks at once. And like we had a big need for that. So if you don't say anything, we're sitting there going, oh man, we need this person for this role. And we kind of have you in a role that you're doing great at. But it's like, if you want to like fully lean into your potential and do things that you're like better qualified to do and are excited to do, you got to like make that known.
Yeah. And just being able to like, trying to be able to like learn as much as you can too, like you said, as quickly as possible. Like that helps a lot. And like having the confidence in yourself that you can really take on any challenge that is thrown or any task that is thrown at you.
Yeah.
Like I have just like based on like how I've lived the last like couple of years, especially being in the military, and like the discipline I've created like through my time in the infantry, like I know that I can take handle any task that comes my way. And so that makes me like not nervous about like what I'm going to do during the workday. Like I just know that I'm going to be able to handle whatever it is. And if I can't handle it, figuring it out, that's the biggest thing too. It's just being able to figure it out without like, you can get like some like guidance, like, but like having the ability to figure something out without like getting stopped by a 3-foot wall makes such a big difference. Cause your leadership team knows that like, I'm going to give this to Chad and he's going to take care of it. Like, I don't have to worry about it again. So, like, building that reputation as, like, someone who does what they say, can figure things out, and, like, does quality work, then you will move up through the ranks and be able to do whatever you want, like, so easily.
Totally. Yeah, I feel like you and Josh really have a similar way of working, like, very able to like plug into different things and like likes working cross-functionally, like doing, a little bit over here, a little bit over here, a little bit over here. But that little bit goes a long way because you guys take that very seriously and are like excellent in the way that you show up to do that type of work.
And I'm so fortunate too to be able to like learn from him.
Yeah.
Too. He's like one of the best workers I've ever seen in my entire, like, I don't know, in my experience. Like,
Including the Army?
in the Army too. Like I'm just trying to learn as much as I can from him because he's such a good role model and he's such a good worker, and he does such a good job at everything that he does. Like that's someone that I want to emulate in my career moving forward as well.
Totally, yeah, and he's awesome too because he makes space for, like really developing a relationship and like wanting to like build into younger guys. Like he has a few people from old jobs that he's like just kind of like brought along, like even beyond just kind of like working with him at their old job. Like he clearly like likes to make that investment backwards into people, which is, I think, really a high quality trait of a leader.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of things that we could talk about within the business, but like I think unique to you, just seeing how you've kind of gravitated towards these different things, like it's really inspiring, I think, and I would like literally hope that we can like cut paste as many Chads as humanly possible. I don't know where they are, but just the unique combination of drive and wanting to like be a good team player, but then also like just having that like I can be a beginner mindset is so huge. Like if you have those, like, you're set.
Yeah, a lot of people are scared to like be a beginner too. I think that's a lot of fears that people have. And like I have it too. Like quite honestly, like on Monday I'm gonna go swimming with Angie and the Muse camp with Donahue.
Is it Natasha's swim group?
Yeah, Natasha's swim group. Apparently she teaches you like from the ground up.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how to swim that well. Like I can survive in the water, but I'm not efficient.
Yeah.
And so I want to be efficient because I want to do like triathlons and things like in the future. And so like I don't know anything about swimming, but I know that like I'm going to show up there, especially like having people like Angie and Donahue like around me that are also just like focused on bettering themselves.
Yeah.
Like it's going to make it so much easier for me. Totally. So I'm just going to show up on Monday with my goggles and my swimsuit and then prepare to get absolutely crushed. And it's very similarly to running too. Like I didn't start running consistently until maybe like April of last year. So it's really only been like a year and 3 months.
Dang.
And I started working with Griffin, my coach, like back in January or mid-February to start prepping for like the Marine Corps Marathon in October. So I'm doing like a 9-month train up for that.
Yeah.
I'm like 4 months in, but like I show up to the track to Good Pain every Tuesday. I'm getting absolutely dusted by the entire Good Pains group. The entire like the Jeff Cunningham's run team is there at the same time.
They're there at the same time.
Yeah, and so
those guys are dogs.
Getting it's the girls team. I'm just getting absolutely smoked by everyone on the track. Like I'm sprinting and I'm getting passed by a column of people. But by placing myself like on that track and like putting myself in that room and around those people, like I know that like I'm just gonna like subconsciously just get better. And like the improvement I've made like in the last few months, like with Griffin's help, but also like through working hard and just like consistently showing up and being a beginner and like a newbie, I guess, like at different things, like you just have to keep doing it and be consistent.
Well, even you with the podcast, you're just like, all right. I asked you, I was like, do you like doing this? Like, because I have a whole vision for the pod where like we're having regulars on who are involved for their life here in Austin, but we're able to like continue to tell stories about the things that we're doing, the things that we're learning. Because I do just like, you mentioned like our little bubble. I mean, and like you showing up to work and loving it. I do just think like at the core of that, it's just like real relationships. Like there's so much that like doesn't bother me because I care about the people around me. Like things that, you know, probably to most people like aren't necessarily good. It's like, all right, like I care a ton about all the relationships that are involved with us building Noble. So like there basically is no downside. It's only like, let's just keep building. So I don't know. I think like just being a beginner and being willing to just like hop on a pod and not like be nervous or uncomfortable. Like you might be nervous, but it's like not let that stop you from doing it. I think it's such a huge leg up.
Yeah, before my first pod with Brett, I had no idea.
Sweating bullets.
I had no idea what to expect. I like didn't prep anything. I was like, I'm just gonna rip it. And I was listening to it back when I was editing, and I was like,
that's the worst.
And I had the transcript pulled up of like how I was talking, and like I was like, oh, I'm saying so many filler words that I could have done so much better. But I got a lot of good feedback. People told me that I did really well, and I was like, I don't really see it. I thought there'd be a lot of things I could improve on. So when I told you like earlier today, right before we started recording, I was like, okay, I have these things that I want to work on. But like podcasting is fun. It's just talking like we normally do with a camera and a microphone.
Yeah, like give insights, and I mean, there's different formats, right? Like the one that we did with Donahue and Trip. It's like it's a little bit more banter. Like I'm probably playing less of a role in terms of like what I need to do because I can just ask questions. And then there's like this style of content, which still kind of feels more like a conversation. And there's kind of like, I feel like for some of our bigger guests, it's felt a lot more like an interview where I'm like, all right, like, you know, I've got to have like questions dialed in to like get to like the good stuff really quickly. But sometimes it's just fun to just like turn the mic on and just like have a conversation. I
feel like you and Brett have recorded so many episodes now. It's like 410, 411 episodes deep. That it's just so second nature to you. Like I can just see like when you record, they just like you just ask really good questions just in general, and it comes through like outside of the podcast as well. Like when I talk to you or talk to Brett, like I noticed that like you guys are just like great talkers and great interviewers, and you ask questions and are very like thoughtful.
Yeah, I think there's something to definitely the podcast like has developed that skill a lot. It's pulled it out of us a lot and refined it. And I'm excited to see like I told Brett this the other day, I was like, I want to be the best podcaster. I don't know what that means, but like I've loved podcasting for so long. Like it's been such a huge part of my growth. Where like I listened to Tim Ferriss early on and Entrepreneurs on Fire, like these podcasts that inspired me to like want to be an entrepreneur and podcasts that made me want to like go out and try new things and be a beginner and like kind of tinker with a lot of different things. Like Tim Ferriss was a huge part of that. Rogan now, it's like, yeah, I really like admire and look up to a lot of these guys who have these platforms that, you know, they're doing long form conversation in a really unique way. And yeah, just like, I want to like keep leaning into that because I love the medium of podcasting. And I think it's actually only going to grow for people who are like, it seems like it's kind of getting, to me, it seems like it's getting a little bit like corporatized, like a lot of money's flowing into it. So it's like a lot of like kind of people who have been trained up in podcasting, like actors, news people, like people who are just make it feel really like kind of gross.
Yeah,
but,
like salesy.
Yeah, exactly. But then I think if you like have like a genuine nature about it and are asking good questions, like podcasting it's such an incredible medium.
That's how I got into everything too. Like one of my good friends, Nick, he like sent me Jocko's podcast when we were in college, and that was like the first podcast like I ever listened to.
Yeah.
And I just like listened to that like relentlessly pretty much.
Dude, if you're listening to podcasts in college, you're on a great path.
I didn't start till I was a junior in college. So
really?
That was when I first started listening, and that was when I first started thinking about like going into the military and things like that. But it really started with podcasts. Like I would just listen to Jocko, and then like, who was it? Like there are a couple other like Navy SEAL ones that I listened to, like Huberman and things like that.
Yeah, it's cool to see like the podcasting world just continue to expand. Like we had Adam Curry on our podcast a while back, and he's known as like the Podfather, and because he didn't invent podcasting, but he created I think the first not network, but like ranking system for podcasts. And so he created this like database, and Apple ended up buying it, and he was like working with Steve Jobs. But his passion for podcasting is so cool, and like having him on, I feel like I kind of inherited some of that where I'm like, man, like I want to like carry this forward because I love like what this like podcasting world stands for. Yeah. Like anyone can do it. It's so easy to start.
I really like the play too of like not even podcasting for an audience, but just podcasting just to have in like your like family history. Totally. Like interviewing your girlfriend, your fiance, your wife, your parents, like anyone, in just like a time capsule essentially. Yeah. Even just getting together like with your friends and like just recording an episode, and then like in 5 years you can just look back on that and it's like a memorable piece of content. Yeah. Like you can just have that in the vault like for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it would be cool. I can't Brett and I both have this idea of like recording podcasts with our significant others, or like me recording a podcast with him and like asking him questions around like this stage of life, because it is cool like knowing that I can look like I've listened to our first podcast or like old podcasts and I'm like, man, that feels like a totally different era. And it was only like 2-3 years ago. Yeah. And so like it really is fun having like those time capsule pieces of long form content. Like it's like, you know, a 90-minute conversation that's encapsulating like an area of interest that we had at that time. Like, I don't know. Thinking that we've done 410 episodes is so crazy to me too. Yeah, and thinking about how we started.
Anonymous too on Twitter.
Yeah, it really is. It's pretty funny. Like, you never really know when you're building, like at the beginning, just how things are going to turn out. And like having gone through the growth curve for Meat Mafia, the growth curve for Noble, just seeing how, you know, it takes time for things to develop, but like when you find that like, aha, this is it thing, that moment where like you realize you have something, that's when it gets exciting. You're just like, all right, we need to dig in.
And you don't even realize the effect that you're having either, because like you and Brett starting the podcast like led to Noble, led to everything, and then that led to me listening to the podcast and then sending you a DM and then moving to Austin. Yeah. And so like your whole
life is
whole like you and Brett pretty much just like, I don't know, I wouldn't be sitting here like without that. It's just so interesting.
Yeah.
And like there are multiple, like Nolan and Carlisle and everything, Angie, everything too. Like none of us would have the same lives without you and Brett like starting it, which is just so crazy to think about. Like when you're building a business, like you never think about what it's going to be like a couple of years down the line, but that like not only changes your life, but changes everyone around you's life too, and people you won't even know.
Dude, you got my hair on my arm standing up. It's so crazy too, because like I can actually, it's funny when and where people plug into our story is unique. So like you and Carlisle connected to Brett and I's mission here, like at different moments in time, but I can draw it all the way back to like when I decided to say like, screw it, I'm moving to Austin and like we're going to Waco to run this Ironman and I'm quitting my job, like to that like initial fear of like, should I do this or not? And that's even wild for me. Like there's like kind of one fear-based decision that's like that if I make it or not, like I don't know, like what we're all kind of doing together, like might not be here.
Yeah, I can trace it back too. So I worked for 10,000, the company that back in 2019. We worked with Brian Mazza.
Oh yeah,
we did like the nothing changes if nothing changes. I meant to tell this on the episode with Brett, but I didn't tell it. But
yeah, you saved it for the good episode.
Yeah. So how I found out about the Meat Mafia, I remember very vividly. Is like I really liked what Brian Mazza had to say, and I liked his interviews, and I like had followed him on Instagram since like 2019 when we worked with him. I've only met him briefly in the office in 2019. Like I really didn't meet him. I don't think I haven't talked to him at all. But I listened to his interview with you guys, and like at that point, like I'd been a personal trainer, I'd been a CrossFit coach, I was in the military at that time, and I was like in the fitness. Like I was like always had the mindset of like I can out train a bad diet. Like I'm in the Army, I'm in the infantry. Like I ruck all the time, I run all the time. Like it doesn't matter what I eat. Like I can out train a bad diet. Anyway, I listened to the Brian Mazza episode, Choosing Savage, by far one of my favorite podcast episodes ever. I still listen to it like pretty frequently.
Dude, he was on fire.
Yeah.
He was on fire that episode. I just remember his zip that day. I mean, he's like that all the time.
Yeah.
The dude's like, he's awesome.
But I listened to that episode. I'm like, oh, who are these Meat Mafia guys?
These meat guys.
And then so like I listened to a couple other like interviews that you had with like I liked business interviews at that time. And so I listened to like Devin Levesque. I followed him since like 2018, 2019 as well. Like he's one of my favorite interviews. I've probably listened to every interview he's done. Listened to his interview that you guys did like right afterwards.
Yeah.
And so I was like, but I was still only listening to the like business founder episodes. And then I was like, I listened to like a one-off like nutrition episode, and like it just completely like rocked my world. I was like, something clicked in my mind, and I was like, oh, this makes so much sense now. And so I completely like revamped my diet and did everything, like changed my whole perspective on health. And like I just started like binging all of your guys' episodes, and so I'd listened to like pretty much all of them at this point.
Yeah.
I started binging everything, and then like changed my diet. I was like I'd eat a lot of steak. Like there was probably a year, maybe 3 months where I had there was like hack at Costco. They're selling New York strip steaks for like $10.99 a pound.
Dang.
Great deal.
Dude.
And so like I would just get like a 5-pack every week. I'd have a pound of steak every night for dinner. Like it was phenomenal. I did that, just eating steak and eggs and like some rice and stuff for like a year and 3 months, like in between field times. Completely changed my diet, completely changed my training, and like now like I've gotten like much more based since then. Like I'm pretty dialed in. I've got the glasses and the everything now, but like it just completely changed my perspective on health and changed my perspective from being like, oh, counting macros is all that matters, to like really like now I believe like the micronutrients is like what matters the most, and like the macros just kind of like fluctuate, like dictate like how much you weigh and things like that. But like it's just crazy how the podcast, like bring it back, like just with you and Brett, just like influenced my life. And now I work for you guys. I work down here in Austin. Like it's insane.
It's amazing. I appreciate you saying that, but it's really amazing just thinking like because podcasting is so like open-ended in the sense of like we don't really get to engage with our audience all that much. So unless like you reach out actively or like, you know, there's some response on the other end, like we don't get too much of a reaction. So it's like, you know, knowing that like there's been these different seasons of the pod where it's like affected different people. Like my younger brother was telling me the other day, he was like, dude, you like have no idea how much like you've impacted some of the guys who I know. And I'm like, it's just cool. Like, I'm not saying that that's why we do it, but I love like looking backwards 5 years where I was and being able to help those types of people out. Like that, there's a huge passion of mine, just because I think that's like where your life can really like just compound in a way that is super meaningful when you're in your early 20s. You're going through that season of like not really sure what I'm doing. I want to test out a bunch of different things. I want to start feeling better. I want to eat healthier. Like there's so many lanes that like you need to like end up trying to master. But at the end of the day, like just having somebody who's like maybe a little bit older who can speak some truth in your life is huge. So yeah.
I've seen it the same like with my friends that like I have a couple of friends, like shout out to Dawson, like one of my close friends from Alaska. He started like listening to the podcast when I started working here, and he's like listened to all the episodes, and he's big. The Michael Smoke episode is his favorite. He loves some Michael Smoke.
Smoke is a legend.
But it's like
shout out to you for pulling that one in.
DMing him. But it's just like it's crazy that like not only has it changed my life, but people around me too, and like people who just like were exposed to the Meat Mafia through like me working here, and like it's just like crazy how much the web just goes.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to keep digging in too, because like I was telling Miles is just like, he's kind of like one of those guys who's just such a great sounding board, because he has good taste. Like he's a chef, but he has just like good feel for like things that will work and things that won't. I was just kind of like spitballing ideas. I'm like telling him kind of the season that I felt that we've been in through the podcast, which like we're kind of in the season of it not necessarily being our main priority. We're like at the beginning, it was like everything that we were doing. So there was so much like energy and momentum being poured into it. And I don't say like it's not our main priority in the sense of like, this is literally my favorite thing that we get to do on a weekly basis. But just in terms of where we're spending our time, it's like less here. And so one of the things that I'm excited about is just thinking about all the different messages that we talk about, and how do we actually like bring more resources and people into that, and like create more of, I think, like an ecosystem of people who are talking about different lanes of like all these types of conversations that we're having. Because I genuinely feel like we know, I've said this before, like we know so many great people, there's so many great, cool people that are like admirable that like people should be looking up to. Like just give them a platform. Like that's like, I don't know. I don't think it's that much harder than that. Like there are people who I think will benefit from, you know, just like pulling together a great group of people who have great messages.
I agree with that. It's just like when you're just like isolated in like a community that like maybe doesn't align with your goals at the time, it could be so hard to like even contemplate or like imagine that like, oh, there's some people out here like doing these things. Yeah. But like us, like it's so easy for us because we see it at the gym, we see it at the track, we see it at work, like everywhere that we do. So I really like the idea of like bringing that to the masses.
Yeah. I was texting with Brett today and I was like, I really want to make the Meat Mafia pod, like potentially just like the mission of it. I haven't fully baked this out, but to make Austin the healthiest city in the US, like, and just have that be our mission for the show. So like from there, every decision is made to like align with that. I think there's a lot of like layers of health that get tied into that, whether it's like mental, physical, spiritual, that like, you know, we speak to regularly. And there's like, you know, work related stuff that ties into health. So I don't know, I feel like that could be a fun one, especially just because we both love Austin so much and have built such great community down here, and like know so many cool people. It would just like be a fun mission to like just like pour that energy into.
Yeah, it all starts with the health too. Like,
yeah.
Ever since like I cleaned up my diet like a year and a half ago when I first started listening to you guys, like I feel so good like every single day. Dude. And like now is like my diet is pretty squared away, and I drink raw milk all the time, and like
it's clutch.
But like what it's like not like the average person like is not really doing that. No. And so like as much like information we can give to the masses, I think like would benefit people so much, because like I never have to worry about like gut problems really, or like anything, like any ailments, or like I feel pretty good all the time. Like, and like when I'm properly fueled, like especially in the morning, like I'll have like a raw milk with like 2 scoops of Noble, a scoop of Bub's collagen, some salt, some creatine, some fruit, put in like a super shake, and like after that, like I'm and have like four shots of espresso when I can figure out how to work my espresso machine.
I have to have Angie come over and figure out how to do the espresso machine.
Yeah, she's sending me tutorials. But like I just feel so dialed in all day. Like I don't have to worry about like, oh, I don't really feel good, or like, oh, I'm tired or lethargic, and like I'll go run 8 miles in the morning and a brutal track workout, have my shake. I'm absolutely wired for the rest of the day just because I'm energized and properly fueled.
Dude, you get me fired up. Yeah, I feel like so many people miss out on the opportunity to like reach their potential in all the other areas of life just because they are only giving like 50% to their health or like less. Mm-hmm. Like they're not spending time, like they're not eating the right things. They're not moving their body enough. They're not stretching enough. And then that compounds over, the first 10 years of their working life after college. Mm-hmm. And they just develop terrible habits. And dude, that like can suck the energy out of you.
Yeah. When you when you have like Taco Bell or fast food, like the night prior, then like even like into the next day.
Oh, you're right.
Like you're mentally, you're absolutely drained. And like, it's same with alcohol too. Like if you're like drinking a lot like over the weekend or like during the week, like even like 1 or 2 like drinks like during the week, like you notice it the next day. And like I'm not sober by any means, but I drink a lot less now than I do like back in college especially. But like I am like picky and choosy about it now. Like I'll go to weddings and like I won't really restrict myself, but it's like it's people like you just have to be mindful about like what you're putting into your body. And like I know like, oh, if I'm going to a wedding, like I'm probably gonna be beat up the next day, like whatever. But
it's
like
just gonna happen.
Yeah, or if I'm like I want to go out and have a burger with my friends, like I know it's gonna affect me later. But like I'm not restrictive at that. Like as long as I'm good, like 85% of the time, like I'm not worried about it. And like I've done like heavy macro counting and like heavy restriction, and I've done like no restriction at all, and like where I am now, where I'm just like intuitively like I eat 85% like extremely clean, like all during the week, like I'm pretty dialed in. Even most weekends I'm like I make all my meals, eat a lot of ground beef, eat a lot of avocado, a lot of eggs and potatoes. It's like pretty much what I eat every day.
Get some sunlight.
Yeah, like I've never felt better, and it's just crazy that like people are living their lives and like they know what they're doing is not good for them, but they continue to do it. But when you realize that you don't have to live that way, you can just do things, then like your whole world will open up, and there's so much opportunity. Because like once you stop feeling like sleepy and lethargic and bad, and like you're like, oh, I feel so tired today because I didn't sleep last night or because I ate poorly last night or something like that, then once your body stops worrying about that, then you're like, oh, I have this idea for a business, like let me put some energy into that, like let me put some more energy into lifting or running or something like that. Like it just like opens up avenues to better yourself in all aspects of your life.
Yeah it's so powerful because at the end of the day, like it's all in your control. It's all a choice. It's super binary, like in my opinion. Like there's definitely a life of like middle ground where you're content kind of just playing in the margins and not pushing yourself to like get it fully dialed in. But once you get your health dialed in, you never want to go back because you feel the alpha of being a healthy person. You're like, dang, like I have better energy. I have better thoughts. I wake up feeling more motivated to like be the person that I feel like I want to be. And like, that's a tough thing. Like if you're living between those two worlds of like struggling, which is, I think everyone goes through a phase of that where they're like trying to be healthy, but they just keep sliding back. It's like, just give yourself the space, like 30 days to like
30
commit.
days all you need.
Just commit, and you'll get there.
It's crazy. Like we've talked about this a lot on this podcast, and like I think maybe it was Justin Nault who said it.
Oh yeah,
it's like 30 days. Dude. You cut it all out, like you will never feel better. It's crazy 100%. How much it works. And then like once you figure out like what you actually feel like at a baseline level, like when you cut everything out, like you can change your life, and you build up the resiliency too. Like like now, like I'll go to Cabo Bob's for lunch every now and then. Like, sue me.
Yeah, gonna get a Cabo Bob's.
Sue me. But I've built up
after an
the
8-mile run.
resiliency.
You
Yeah,
know?
like I've earned it, and so I try and earn it every day. And now I just don't really worry about, like, I worry about hitting my protein, but that's pretty much it. Like,
yeah, just knowing that you have that discipline muscle to flex too, where it's like, okay, I'm doing things really, really well 95% of the time, and then 5% of the time, like, I give myself some margin to have the drinks on the wedding, or have Cabo Bob's every now and then, or, like, you know, have that one meal that, like, might be regrettable. It's like, it's really not the end of the day.
yeah.
And I think I hope that's where the health world is trending too, where it's like not just like all like do's and don'ts and super restrictive. There needs to be like some life in that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking about this with Nolan on our way to Dallas when we were in the car driving up the other weekend.
4-hour drive.
We're like, it's just like about balance. Like, like balance is all about, like, this is his words. Balance is all about, like, being like you go too far on one side, and then you're like, okay, I need to bring myself back a little bit. Then you go a little too far on the other side, and you're like, okay, I'll bring myself back a little bit. And it's kind of just like ebbs and flows like that. And I've gone through seasons like that too. Like, over the winter time, like, I had no surgery that put me out of the gym for a month, and then, like, I moved from Alaska to Virginia to Austin, and so, like, in that December, like, holiday time frame, like, I was just traveling a lot, and I was, like, seeing a lot of family and friends. Like, I drank a good amount, and, like, my family, like, owns a wine bar in North Carolina, so I drank a bunch of wine. And then I got to Austin, I'm like, okay, I need to lock in. And then I locked in for 3 months, didn't drink at all. I was, like, pretty much sober until, like, mid-March, and just, like locked in. Yeah, just locked in. And then now it's, like, I traveled a lot. Like, I was in Alaska for a month, and I was super locked in there. And then I, like, before that, though, I, like, traveled to Virginia, and I traveled to D.C. for, like, 2 different weddings, and so I was, like, a little less locked in those 2 weeks, but I brought it back, and then now I'm in a good spot right now. So it's all about, like maybe you can get out of balance a little bit, just bring it back to the baseline, like, having an idea of, like, where you're at, and just constantly, like, maybe not constantly, but, like, just, like, making a note to, like, think about, like, where you are, like, where you want to be. Like, I feel like your body, like, will kind of yearn for, like, what it wants. Yeah, totally. Like, if you're, like, when I'm, like, too, like, restrictive, like, I kind of yearn for a bender. Yeah. But then when I'm like when I'm too out of it, or, like, traveling too much or something, like, I yearn to kind of, like, be more locked in. So, like, just, like, listening to what your mind and your gut is telling you. Yeah. I feel like will help a lot. That's good. What do you have any advice for just young guys who are just, like, just getting their first steps into the real world, just things that wisdom you can impart on them? Really, I mean, just, you can do things. Like, you just literally, that has to be the title of this episode. I'm saying now, you can do things. I make that happen. Yeah. You're like, I know a guy. Yeah, I mean, like, literally, you can just do things. Like, a lot of people will say all the time that I want to do this, I want to do that. Like, you can just do it. So, like, everyone has these yearns for different things. Like, just like do whatever you want. Like, I talked about this a lot with Brett too. Like, you can literally just do whatever you want. Like, if you're not happy with your job, like, just quit. Like, literally just do whatever you want. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people, I think it's maybe a combination of just, like, parenting styles, like, I don't know, like, participation trophy era, like, people feeling very entitled, or, like, feeling like they need someone to, like, tell them what to do. I've definitely fallen into this trap, so I'm not saying, like, from a place of judgment, but it's like, you feel like, you know, I think for a lot of people, it's, like, tough to make some of these, like, life changes, but at the end of the day, like, I think having that, like, muscle to, like, just be responsive, not reactionary, like, not someone who's making decisions just based on emotions, based on how they're feeling, but, like, knowing that, this isn't for me, I'm out. Like, I love that feeling of, like, coming to a conclusion of, like, all right, I know that is not for me anymore. I'm done. Like, there's no better feeling in the world. Yeah, I like the idea too of, like, building a little bit of discipline, like, just like do hard things too. Yeah, like, you feel so good after you do hard things, and then you can use that to, like, build your, like, what Goggins calls it, your what does he call it, your piggy bank or whatever it is. Yeah. You build it, his piggy bank, taking souls or whatever. Like, you just, like, build it over time, your, like, repertoire of, like, all the hard things you've done, and then things get easier over time. And so, like guys, like, young guys, I'd say, like, do hard things, and then, like, you can just do things too, like, do whatever you want. Totally. Like, just, like, and then just, like, try and like structure your life to where you have like some accountability too, like whether that's through friends, through community, through faith, like find a way that like you're held accountable for your actions.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Where can people find Sparkle, find Chad Marx? Do you want to be found?
We were talking about this earlier too. Like I kind of like that. Like I don't have a platform. Like I just feel like I'm just a normal guy.
Yeah.
Like, but
the normal guy.
Chad Marx with 2 D's on Instagram. Sparklewipes.com. That's my teeth wipe brand.
Yeah. We didn't get into the normal guy stuff nearly as much as we should have, but we're gonna do. I love the idea of like creating regulars on the show and like making it people who are like in Austin, people we're doing life with, building stuff with. It makes it so like people can hear about everything that's going on. So I love it.
I'm absolutely wired off these new tonics too.
Those new tonics are there's like 120 milligrams of caffeine in there, but it feels like 1,000.
My brain is moving at like 1,000 miles per hour, and my eyes are probably going everywhere.
Should we record another pod?
I could rip it for another like 3 hours.
I love it. All right, brother. Appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me.